and functions of the traditional authorities. In your view, what are some of the status, role, and functions of this traditional society in our current political landscape?
Okay. Now the status of traditional authority leaders are well mentioned and well mandated in the transitional constitution and also in revitalized peace agreement.
If it is well mentioned, why are we having all these crises in our counties and bomas?
Because we South Sudanese traditional authority leaders themselves, we, the people of South Sudan, we have just given up and we left the matter in the hand of the signatories to the revitalized peace agreement. And this is wrong, because when it is written signatories to revitalize peace agreement are given opportunity to transit the country from militarization and from the exclusive agreement, which is also limited only to signatories, to include others who are not in Addis Ababa, in Khartoum.
Mhm.
So include others, and this is well taken. Well taken in the constitution making process. So all of us should be making our constitution and transit, but the intellectuals and former freedom fighters and those who have joined them in the revitalized transitional government of national unity have no agenda of how to transit, and this is very relevant. You can see it. There is no one single political party today, as I'm speaking to you, there is no one political party with a manifesto of how to transit. There's no written manifesto. They have left the matter to only fighting over status in the government and enjoying unlimited privileges and entitlement. And it is due power sharing. Power sharing. Is South Sudan going to be governed based on power or popularity?
Now, in the document you so far written, you have tried to address the issue of that constitution making process, of which you have looked at, the roles of the traditional authorities having a greater impact.
Yes.
Now, if that is taken into consideration.
So if their status is taken into consideration, their roles is to get organized, and they have started to organize. What will be their functions? Their functions is to facilitate the dialogue among South Sudanese, because we respect chiefs, we respect our kings and queens, we respect them, and according to our customs, they lead our process, and it is not an invention. It has started from the main event in 1947, Juba Conference. You have heard about Wunlit Peace Conference, and you have heard about many other peace conferences. And even during the British administration ruled South Sudan indirect rules. What does it mean? It was recognizing the customary institutions. It incorporated the customary institutions to the administration of colonial administration. Also, logically, globally, if you see, there are no two federal government systems identical. There are no two identical kingdoms. There are no two identical democracies. This means that democracies, kingdom, federalism are taken within the context of each society. South Sudanese are not different. South Sudanese will take even democracy in South Sudan. It will not be a democracy of majority of numbers.
Now, with the current ongoing tribal conflict in the country, why are you so much convinced that there is need for us to include the traditional authorities in quelling the situation?
First of all, it is wrong to say there is a tribal conflict.
People are fighting.
No, this is ethno-military. This is elites claiming to represent their communities.
And who are
claiming and they are abusing.
These elites are using, the traditional leaders.
They are using the name. They are not using the traditional leaders. They are using the name.
Exactly.
There is no one traditional leader who is standing today behind any ethnically motivated politician.
And if their name can be used, why are you so much convinced that they need to be part of the governance?
No, they are named. They are not using the name of traditional authority. They are using the name of nationalities, and I call them nationalities. People call them tribes, and people talk of 64 tribes. And in my book, if you see Annex 2, there are 73, and I have put them alphabetically, and there are 73. These 73 nationalities, they were created like this. They have come together, and they have proven from 1955 or even before, they were resisting since 1824. They have resisted colonization, and when the British wanted to govern, it recognized them, and then from 1955 until today, the traditional authority leaders have been governing their people, and they have been solving a dispute within their communities and across cultural communities. So it is only the state of South Sudan that we claim on July 9, 2011. It is this state to be contextualized, to be made in within the context of South Sudanese, and this is well written in the revised peace agreement, chapter 6.
Now, what practical step can you suggest that needs to be taken to bring, reconciliation and peace in South Sudan?
Okay, thank you very much. As I have written, I have suggested we go to mandate written in the Local Government Act, and mandate written in revised peace agreement, and mandate written in transitional constitution 2011, that there is National Council of Traditional Thought Leaders. And in Local Government Act, it is written Southern Sudan Council of Traditional Thought Leaders. In the Constitution, it's written the South Sudan Council of Traditional Thought Leaders. It is Article 167 and 168. If you go to the implementation of chapter 5 and chapter 6, it is written traditional authorities. So they are recognized. That is their status. What is their role? Their role is to bring their communities to get organized and organize their community. What is their function? Is to help their communities to dialogue among themselves. And it is written. So it is the neglect of this status, roles, and function of traditional thought leaders that is making us becoming a toy and being a trademark being used by politicians that South Sudanese are fighting among themselves. South Sudanese are not fighting among themselves. South Sudanese, there could be certain communities which are mobilized to fight against the government on behalf of certain opposition group or on behalf of government. This is wrong.
Now, what methods do you propose for fostering meaningful conversation? Because we have witnessed some other dialogue that you have so far mentioned end up claiming lives.
So far, traditional authority leaders have organized themselves into National Kotal ad hoc committee, National Kotal, National Council of Traditional Authority Leaders ad hoc committee. And they are engaging the government. They are engaging the Ministry of Justice. They are engaging. They are engaging the National Constitution Review Commission, and they are engaging the Parliament. They are getting all aspects of the government, and also engaging individually, and also engaging the national community, so that at least there is a conference for South Sudanese among themselves to discuss how they could exist peacefully and share common destiny and work together. It will be up to the political parties now to prove their relevance, not being powerful fighting, but being relevant with the popular agenda which is acceptable, which is elections. This is the only way. We cannot leave the country to be ruled through military. Militarize political parties. The political parties, we have to take away from them the ballot box and bring in the ballot box. And the ballot box can come only after the constitution.
What you have said requires energy, required resources, and also required time. Now, how would you suggest for example, a chief in his or her locality to start the process you have mentioned?
Okay, and the chiefs. Okay, yeah, that is why their status is organized. Their role is to get organized, and it is not easy. If they are organized, it is written in the Local Government Act. What is the Southern Sudan Council of Traditional Authority Leaders, which has become a National Council of Traditional Authority Leaders. It is also written in the Constitution. So there are representatives of the counties who will come to the state, and the representative of the state who can come to Juba or anywhere they can organize. So it is possible. And they are already involved, they are already organized, their status, roles and functions is recognized in judiciary. So we are aware who is the most senior chiefs in each county. We are also aware who is senior chief in each Buma, and we have their existence is their roles and status are already recognized in administration. When the public administration want to reach the people, it will go through the chiefs. When the judiciary want to enhance administration of law, judiciary adjudication, they do it through the chiefs. Why would the political communities not accepting this?
If you look at the current context, most of these traditional authorities, they are not fully involved or included in the nation building process.
They are not. They are excluded. They are not fully included, but actually intentionally excluded, and this is unconstitutional.
And how is it really crippling the situation? Let's talk about the case. How does it really affect?
It will affect because when you take the people of Bor, chiefs of Bor meeting with chiefs of Morle, or chiefs of Latuka meeting their neighbors, or chief of Jing meeting their neighbors, or chief in Mayom meeting their neighbors, and discuss
their differences, for
the
example.
differences, shared national resources, and discuss administration. It is possible. So if and then the traditional authority leaders are not, in essence. The colonial administration recognized them as administrators, but they were spiritual, and they continue to be spiritual until today. They are being respected spiritually. They guide people. They guide people aspiration for peace. They bless people for peace, and they bless people to cleanse from bad things. So the spiritual leaders, the traditional spiritual leaders, and customary leaders are very relevant in South Sudan until today. Faith.
Earlier on in your statement, you said most of these traditional leaders are intentionally excluded. Who is excluding them, and why?
The signatories to the revitalized peace agreement, the grantors, and then those institutions which are helping implementation of revitalized peace agreement. They have not, because it is okay. Now, in chapter 5, now healing and reconciliation, will it be among political parties? The nature of politics is competition. It is accepted. But the healing is among the people. But this process needs to be facilitated. You need to collect them, you need to host them, you need to facilitate their movement, their gathering. UNMIS have tried their level best. And they supported the book, the printing of some copies of the book and the launching of the book. Some South Sudanese also came in and they said that we'll print more, and that's why we are distributing it free and putting it online. I didn't write it to sell it as a book to make money. So yes, people, they are support, but their support is not enough. We need to support traditional authority leaders to meet in Juba. We cannot stop politicians to compete. They have to compete based on national or on popular agenda, but not on who is stronger or who is using more tribes than other one. This is the international community is even neglecting them. Now, when you have the AU coming here, the
Panel
forum,
of the wise.
panel of the wise. In their wisdom, do they think that South Sudanese political parties will not compete among themselves? They have to be allowed to compete based on their popular agenda. But take away guns from them, take away use of tribes, fighting using the tribes. There's nothing to be fought. You need to come with popular agenda and people vote for you.
In your opinion, as per now, the country is looking for peace more than even ever before. And how best or what approach can be used for now, to include all these traditional authorities who have powers, who have influence in the society to bring peace?
If you put priority to National Council of Traditional Authority Leaders, the African traditional spiritual leaders, and then the church, the youth, and the women, if they meet and they agree not to fight among themselves, what will the politician do? Politicians would opt for popular agenda. They will not use violence to prove their relevance. This is it.
But now where there's economic crisis, there's some other political friction in the country, where do you expect, the concerned authorities to start from at the moment?
Okay, the government of South Sudan, the transition government of the revitalized transition government of national unity may not have enough money, but they are being supported. Communities are being supported to live. They are being given food. They are being given medicine. Give them chance to discuss their peace. If you can finance, you can support feeding them, you can support medical, support them, discuss peace so that in peace they become self-reliant instead of continuously being dependent on external support. So they need to be supported to discuss among themselves, to dialogue.
All right, dear listener, if in case you have just joined us, you're listening to the Sundown Show with me, Madrama James, and we are discussing the status, role, and function of that traditional authorities leaders in bringing peace in South Sudan. And I'm thrilled to be joined by that a researcher in the names of that Achil Malith, and we are taking a look at this now. If you have a question or comment, please call us on that 0911-22986-986. Now let's go for a quick break. When we come back, that's when officially we shall keep the conversation going right here and right now.
Basma le radio الحقيقة I radio نتاكم في جنوب السودان.
عزيزي مستمع إذاعة آي راديو، لما تشارك في أي موضوع على الإذاعة أرجوك تفادي تصريحات بتحرض أو بيشجع على الكراهية. إحنا بنشجع نقد بناء وآراء هادفة اللي بتهدف إلى توفير الحلول للمشاكل اللي بتواجه الدولة. إحنا ما دايرين ترويج للشائعات أو المعلومات اللي بتعتبر بأنها شائعة أو أغاويل. إحنا بندعو إلى رسائل السلام والوحدة بين مواطنين جنوب السودان. ده آي راديو، عينك على جنوب السودان.
نعم، مرحبا بكم تاني مرة في زمن بتاسي لو عندك سؤال لأتشيل ماليث ونقد بعينه بذا في دور بتا السلاطين في جيب سلام في جنوب السودان. تسأل توالى سألوا سؤال ولا تعليق بتاك في زمن بتاسي دي معي مكالمة في خداي راديو.
Brother Rama James.
Yes, James Duar.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you. I would want to ask two questions to the guests in the studio.
Go ahead.
Asking the role of chiefs in the government sector it is involvement of the chief to politics. And chief should be independent of involving even local government, should be non-partisan, so that they lead the people that will choose the right person. But when they are involved in the politics, it will really hit the interest on the political elite, of which denying the right of the people that they were to claim. So with this scenario, how should we really say we are looking for good governance when we want to engage the chiefs to involve in the politics of the country, where there are more confusion that are created by politicians? This is one. Two, the good governance that you are trying to cite to advocate is seen to be blocked by lack of the constitution that is really reflecting the norms and the governance sector in the country. Though we have a transitional constitution in the country, this transitional constitution seems to be hidden by the elite because of their interest, using parts that are favoring them, then denying the rest that are giving the right to the others. How should we really reflect in such a situation that good governance that is really going to reflect on everybody's will is stipulated in the transitional constitution and the permanent constitution that people are really looking upon to be framed, and it seems to have more blockage. So how should we really develop such scenario?
Thank you very much, James Dwar, for your questions. Of course, my guest is right here, and we'll get back to you. Our studio line remain the same. That's 0911022986 and 986. James Dwar Bugul Dorbita Salatin Fijib Salam Bukon Quest Cave Lofi Salatin Juzu Minum Kaman Fisaisa. Radio.
Oh.
Yes, Panadol.
أنا رسالة مويتا أنقله هناك.
شكرا جزيلا.
أنا بقول لهم قال مثال كيفهم.
نعم.
مع إيمان الفنادول.
مرحبا.
إتعرف كان موضوع الله وطاس جاي مودة أو كويس أو خان كانينا متابي بيسا ده خان بيجيبوا تغييرات كويس. أنا بشوف يعني ما في نجاح لأنه سلاطين بيتانا دخل في بوليتيك وسلاطين بيتانا جيتشيف ومن يابي سجيجات فودا للكوميونيتي كاليزو كوميونيتي بيتان بيسافر بيتاني يكون من سلاطين بيتانا وتانيا ومن جاتو يعني يقوم لو الله يفتح لكن الحكومة جوا هنا بيجكلموا حاجات بيت والسلطان بلد يا جاي ناس يا دايركت اللي وجير يا دايركت اللي منو سيستم بتاع الحكومة حاجات كل ده بيجيبوا فينا لا حارب جرا جدام ونابو أبوغار جرا جدام وجبلية جدا كان يقول بيستطيع جدا كان
نعم سؤال تاكي شنو؟
سؤال يقول كده إيجا كان واحد الناس يكون واحد ما في كلمة لكن هذه جبيلة فلان لكن سوال بتاعك ده بناجح لكن بسيطويشن تحقق ده وما بناجح يا أخوي نبار تمام.
شكرا. راديو أنا ما يتلي سؤال بقدر تصل تاني مرة وسؤال ديال كله ديو بتاعي في داخل الاستوديو. أنا بودي له فرصة الخاصة عشان كيف يجاوبوا من كل واحد. هاي راديو.
مساء الخير.
مساء النور.
لازروس. واو.
لازروس مرحب.
في سلاطين ده دور كبير كان لكن جاي مغموم بالنسبة لكن سلاطين بدري هكذا واقف باكم وتاتا ده جنوب هكذا مثلا بلد يوم ده بدري لكن هكذا سلاطين مو ما عنده برنامج. يوم ده سلاطين زناربو تيجين يتوجهون شالم الله في كونفنشن. جانانو يوريك ترتيب بتاع بلد دولة ما جيبوه كيف يوم ده سلاطين.
نعم. راديو.
مدرما.
أيوة تولفوك.
This is Little Folk في شمال بارغزال.
نعم مرحبا من شمال بركزال. سؤالك شنو؟
سؤال بداية سؤال بسيط كده بس. أول حاجة الناس أنا جنوب السودان عندهم ناس متعلمين متعالجين وفلسفيين كمان قاعد في جنوب السودان.
نعم.
كلهم قاعد في جنوب السودان. لكن الآن الزول بقول عندي كتاب بتاع جنوب السودان، تاريخ بتاع جنوب السودان، تاريخ بتاع كوم بتاع جنوب، وتاريخ بتاع تاريخ وحاجات بتاع البلد الخالصة وعلى حاجات التانية. هلا الزول الأمي بعرف الكلام انت كتبته في البوك بتاع ده، بعرفه زي الطريقة ده واحد. اثنين نفس بتاعنا هو 30 أمين ما في سلطان، يعني الزول المتعلم بدرجة. لو زول بعرف الطريقة عشان تسلم، وبعرف طريقة عشان يكون يعني أكتب another things, but the reality we need how can the people can understand the background of the South Sudan and the background of the government currently, and how can we promote the peace.
Thank you.
Among ourselves, as we are 64 tribes.
Shukran.
64 tribes, there is no peace among them. How can we come together in a one book, in a one curriculum?
Okay, shukran jazilan. Nawadii tani fursa laitnin mukalama kida ya la radio.
Hi radio, how are you?
Tamam, community advisor min Bor.
Yes, me community advisor from Bor.
Go ahead.
My question is very simple. We need a good government to take care for the life of the people. Is it good for a party when I'm a chairperson of the party? Is it good for me to go and mobilize the community members to be my followers? Is it good to mobilize the community members to be my army? If not, what advice can you give it to those leaders of the parties who usually mobilize their relatives to be their army?
Thank you.
Their relatives to be their party members. Number two, is it which one is good? Which one is the strong one? The government which is in position, the party which is ruling, or the opposition which are opposing the government to correct themselves? Which one is very strong?
Thank
among
you.
these two?
Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much.
much.
Let me talk to my last call and then give chance to that my guest. iRadio. You can still call us back on 0911022986 Last call, iRadio.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Naduk Ayin calling from POC.
Welcome.
My question goes to that political analyst who is now in the studio.
Yeah, researcher, yeah.
Yeah. My question is that now he's saying that traditional chiefs can be involved in peacemaking process, while international community members who are now advocating for peace are within the country. Why are they not communicating with those people to advocate for peace instead of bringing traditional chiefs to discuss peace?
Thank you.
That's my question.
Thank you very much. For now, let me now give the chance to that researcher Achwil Malithe to respond to some of your questions. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Bezana sal kamana sal bukun barabi talisa bagder jalom.
I can mix, huh?
No.
Okay. The quiz, but for South Sudan after liberation, armed struggle and voting for independence, July 9, 2011, we have not been doing civic education to عشان نعلم الناس بتاعنا مسؤولية وطنية، مسؤولية قومية، ومسؤولية بتاع جيران وانت مسؤوليه بتاعك شنو كسيتيزن ومسؤوليه بتاعك شنو كممبر بتاع اسره ومسؤوليه بتاع اسره ومسؤوليه بتاع قبيله ومسؤوليه قوميه مسؤوليه بتاع اقليم لباقي البتاع. Now نحن محتاجين نعمل civic engagement. Civic engagement ما في civic engagement ده معناته communities مع communities to sit together and peacefully coexist so that they could prevent somebody interfering in their relationship based on something happening in Juba. It go and affect them among themselves in the village where they are sharing resources.
وني باسل كيف تلفوق بقول في سلاطين تانين مون ما متعلمين.
لا سلاطين كلام سلاطين ما متعلمين ده is irrelevant because today if you take the king of Sholo is a former banker. If you take the king of Azande is a university graduate from Switzerland. If you take the king of Anuak is a university lecturer. You have the prime minister, the prime minister of Azande kingdom is a master holder.
لكن ما كثير كهذا بس
you go to today most of the chiefs the least they have maybe secondary school. We have many university graduate secondary school leavers and university graduate and they are intellectually maybe they are with regards to knowing something about science or other things, but they have been selected and elected by their people based on their leadership quality. So if they can bring inspiration to their people, and their people it could lead their people to enjoy their economic roles and also respect culture and also be helping advising their people to vote peacefully to popular agenda. If they could lead the people, you need a university graduate to be a PhD holder to be a chief. That is not true.
James Dore is saying, how can we have peace? Yet some of these traditional leaders are siding with the certain political parties. That is actually unfair blame. It is also individually. We cannot say all traditional thought leaders are going to be apolitical, not political. But when they engage among themselves, they will challenge themselves. They will discuss, and that is where you need harmony and healing. It is not. You need harmony among chiefs and among communities, not among political parties. Political parties have to continue to compete, to use popular agenda, but not to use the difference to use the cultural differences among tribes to prove their relevance. And this is what Adup is saying. Is how could you have a national agenda when you go and mobilize your tribe against other tribes, or you mobilize your tribe against the government? This is not a national agenda. It is the national agenda. Politicians also you cannot say all politicians are equal. There are some people who will have tendency to use tribes, but when the tribes meet with other tribes, they'll be used the same the words used. When the nationalities discuss among themselves and dialogue among themselves, they will be challenging themselves, and they are sensibly they will agree of how to become friends and brothers and neighbors. Those days, traditional leaders are respected.
Which days?
Back in the years, traditional
even
leaders.
Now, today.
No, listen, traditional leaders were respected.
Yes.
And what they normally passed out are put into consideration. But why do you think they are becoming so irrelevant? And others are even, indulging in issues to do with that land grabbing. Others are even caught. Why do you think these are happening?
Land grabbing games is only in Juba and in towns in other places. Okay, wait. These are not chiefs. These are representatives of chiefs claiming to be representative of chiefs. Representative. Take this in consideration, because there were some chiefs during IDPs in Khartoum, and then when they came here, they continue to do. They are still relevant, okay, but in absence of organized land act based on the constitution, and in absence of urban demarcation and urban planning, it is not only chiefs who are involved in land grabbing. Politicians are involved, military are involved, intellectuals are involved, youth are involved, women are involved. It is not only chiefs. Bad people are involved because there is no law. It is not because they are status as chiefs. So don't blame this on chiefs. It is not only chiefs who are doing land grabbing.
Now, how
South
can
Sudanese who are intellectuals in urban areas, in Juba, in states capitals, in counties capitals, are grabbing land.
our focus here is to have an inclusive governance, and you earlier on said some of or most of these traditional authorities, they are intentionally excluded. So this time around, how can the system bring them on board?
We go back to National Council of Transitional Authority Leaders at national level. We have a national conference. Mu'tamar 1947, Wendeg 1999, Wunlit Peace Agreement, and many peace agreement among communities. Give that thing, protect that institutional process for communities to commit to resolve their differences. Now, it is not effective to rely on militarized political parties in Juba to bring harmony among them to do what? To share and continue to use their tribes? No. Give communities, their tribes, their nationalities, give them a chance to discuss among themselves of how to stay together and how to not to get involved in politics. They get involved in administration, leading their communities for happiness and economic programs, cultural program, respect, share common grazing zones, and solving dispute among youth, and the customary institutions are there. We need to give that chance. But for politicians to abandon popular agenda and go for tribal mobilization, it is absent of national quotal role and functions.
Looking at the transitional period the country is going through, at the end of the day, the agenda will be, of course, having a permanent constitution. What would be your recommendation at the end of the day so that these traditional leaders their voices and their mandate are restored in this upcoming process?
It is not only recommendation. I want also. It is not. It is not. It is not a creation from my head. It is written in the constitution making process that in the constitution conference, the representative transitional authority leaders are needed. So you organize them, let them come with their submissions. You cannot, because how will you conduct a national conference without traditional authority leaders? No. If you want to help them, then let them get organized. Let them come, organize the youth, organize the women, organize other constituent units of the constitution making, which are mentioned in the Constitution Conference Article 203. You need to organize them and dialogue. And we need peace. We need peaceful transition, and that's today. The war, the political war is using tribes, because the tribes, their leadership is not recognized. Their leadership are not involved. Their priorities in Nasir, in Joko, in Awil, in Nemale, in Rang, in Pashoda. Their priorities is to peacefully coexist with their neighbors. Their priorities is not to get involved to go and attack military barracks for somebody to have relevance in Juba.
Now, Gadwich, via our Facebook page, is accusing the Artigono for neglecting the authorities of the traditional leaders. Now, he is asking or is wondering, how do you expect there will be a stable society when the traditional authorities leaders are neglected? What's your take on that?
Okay, I agree. The traditional thought leaders in aspect of revitalized peace agreement implementation is badly neglected by all, including the revitalized transitional government of national unity. All the signatories to transitional thought leaders are blamed. The international community is also blamed. Those who are helping the implementation, they have not asked the people. And how do you ask people? I challenge any politician in South Sudan here, in future, going to their home area to go and seek votes, they have to go to chiefs. There's none, including the president, the vice president, the first vice, all the vice president. There is nobody who could go today in their own village and call for a meeting without talking to traditional thought leaders. If you are a leader, you have a national agenda, help your communities to engage with other communities peacefully. And then come with a national agenda so that you can be elected by people in Raja, people in Joko, people in Nemole, and people in Rang.
Community advisor from Bor talked of tribal mobilization by some other elites, you said. How best can that be avoided in a state of, fighting for that national agenda?
Simply, I will not talk about, I will not accuse anybody, but give traditional thought leaders an opportunity to talk among themselves, and they start to blaming themselves, advising themselves to avoid being involved in politics, in armed politics, which is affecting them, which is harming them, which is putting the gains of liberation into problems. Give traditional thought leaders opportunity to discuss among themselves. Give them a forum.
And that's the same thing Tolfug is asking. Now, how can they come together? Which platform, which forum can they really use?
According to the constitutions, there is a National Council of Traditional Thought Leaders, representative of the states. And there is a State Council of Traditional Thought Leaders, representative of the counties. And if you go to any county, there is a council there is a council of traditional thought leaders recognized in the judiciary, and they are recognized in public administration. Why can't they not be recognized in peace implementation?
Up to here, we are coming to the end of this very conversation. What would be your crucial message, of course, to our audience?
My crucial message, thank you, James, for this, and thank for iRadio, and thank for listeners and those who have sent me very good questions. And please, you could engage me, and I can share with you the document. You can share with them the document I sent to you so that they can discuss. You can share with them, they are my contacts, and they can discuss with me. But also, I'm also saying, iRadio, please give chance also next time to call for National Council of Transitional Thought Leaders here to come and answer this question by themselves. What do they have? What capacity do they have?
Taken.
And I can give you the contacts.
Taken. Finally, anything you left apart from that recommendation?
We have to be honest. The liberation we did against oppressors, we need to do liberation today against ourselves, to go to be South Sudanese who are living in peaceful coexistence, having a constitution to govern us. And then we develop and we catch up in the fourth industrial revolution. We are already going into artificial intelligence, and we need to catch up. We are a resource-based society. We have a lot of natural resources. So we need to rally these natural resources, and we do trade. We process, we trade, and we be rich.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Up to here, we have come to the end of this very conversation. My guest was Achwil Malith, and we have been discussing about the status, role, and functions of that traditional authority leaders in bringing peace in South Sudan. I've been your host, Madrama James, and do stay tuned.
Risala bitai le national government revitalize peace agreement